Here are three ideas on Kelly Reichardt's The Mastermind, but first let's make a brief introduction. In The Mastermind, set in 1970, the main character, JB Mooney, an unemployed carpenter who supposedly dropped out from art school, plots to steal 4 paintings by modernist painter Arthur Dove from the fictional Framing Heart Art Museum. He manages to do it along with 3 local thieves. Larry Duffy as the getaway driver, and also Ronnie Gibson and Guy Hickey. In the next few days, Larry Duffy steals the car they will use but backs out from the actual heist, apparently because he sees many details that are not clear enough, mainly regarding what will happen with the paintings or what will be the profit from selling them once that they have them. Mooney is reluctant to answer those questions, and he even says that they don't have to know that. Then Mooney himself is the getaway driver while Guy Hickey and Ronnie Gibson steal the paintings. Gibson, impulsive and previously defined by Mooney as having a lot of nerve, points a gun at one of 2 students who is taking notes about paintings in the same gallery room, and then, shortly after, also to the women who are waiting for the 2 students in a car. Mooney and his thieves manage to escape, and the heist is shown in the local news later in the day. Some days pass, and Ronnie Gibson is caught robbing a bank by himself and confesses to the police that Mooney is the mastermind behind the gallery heist. 2 FBI agents visit Mooney and question him in his own house regarding Gibson's claims about his involvement with the stolen paintings. This event causes a quarrel with his wife, Terri, who decides to split with their 2 kids. Now Mooney's marriage is basically at stake. On top of that, the other thief, Guy Hickey, calls Mooney to meet again in person, presumably to get more money from him now that things have been revealed by Ronnie Gibson. Hickey ends up giving information to an organized crime group about the heist that ultimately forces Mooney to hand over the stolen paintings. From that point on, his life goes completely downhill as he flees from justice since he's pointed as the main suspect and actual mastermind. His wife Terri, along with their kids, go to live with her parents. Mooney runs away, leaving all problems behind, and it is not clear what he's still after. So here are 3 brief ideas about the film. First, the film and the general avoidance of clarity as a narrative strategy. This first aspect is interesting because in a film, not everything should be obvious. On the contrary, some pieces should be left for the viewer to put together and even actively participate by partially or totally solving the mysteries. In The Mastermind, even though specific events such as small acts of violence or physical aggression happen off-screen, ranging from the possible fight or struggle between Ronnie Gibson and the guards inside the museum while his companions wait in the car, to the blowing we presume Terri gave JB with an alarm clock, without us directly witnessing it, then it is necessary to consider the decision not to explain, clarify, or justify either the causes or the consequences of several events that take place in the film. It is crucial to know that it is not really clear if JB Mooney, before, during, or after the heist, actually has a fence, which is a term that stands for a person who buys or sells stolen works of art. Therefore, although it seems unclear for him what to do with the 4 paintings when he's asked about it, the film avoids any hint or suggestion regarding the reason for stealing the paintings in the first place or the purpose of keeping them. The apparent background of JB Mooney as a carpenter, for which no information regarding his income or craft is given, and also his brief period in art school from which he dropped out, are possibly not enough to characterize him as a frustrated artist and even to suggest what his reason for choosing Arthur Duff's paintings was. Therefore, his position regarding art, abstract paintings, and aesthetics in general is vague. Furthermore, when Mooney comes to Fred and Maude, his former friends from art school, looking for a place to hide and stay, Fred is open and excited by the experience his friend has lived through. Maude, on the other hand, confronts Mooney regarding his heist and even goes further by speculating that his actual fence was one of their art teachers, Professor Pruitt. Mooney neither confirms it nor denies it. Then, was there an actual fence, really, to begin with? Otherwise, why does he steal art if he's not going to sell it? Is it then for the pleasure of having it for himself for the rest of his life? Is he treasuring it just for the sake of selfish aesthetic experience? The film doesn't have a clear answer. Complexity of female characters. Why do Terri and Maude continue to be married to their husbands? Did they never realize what they were like before marriage? Is this a film regarding justice or communication within a society that speaks when it is too late? Judging by how Terri reacts at what Mooney has done, one could say that she never really knew who this man was or what he could do to society. We came to think that she was going to be Mooney's accomplice or associate in crime, but nothing further from the truth. She doesn't even suspect what he is up to or what is the real purpose of the sacks she is sewing for him. How come? How did he behave by the time they started to hang out? Had he shown any early signal of ambition, greediness, a tremendous ego, self-indulgence, or any kind of contempt for humanity or cultural institutions? Even the smallest trace of kleptomania, perhaps? It is surprising that she doesn't seem to know at all the man she married. Also, it is already very difficult to believe that neither the judge nor his mother knows him, nor does his wife, his in-laws, or his college friends. By the same token, there is tension between Mooney's couple of friends, Fred and Maude, we can assume due to Mooney's visit, in which Fred seems morbidly excited because he never expected his old friend to do something like the heist he reads in presence of Mooney and Maude directly from the newspaper. Apparently, Maude is quiet in the presence of her husband and the visitor. We could say that she's not talkative, just like Terri. However, privately, she confronts Mooney and asks him to leave immediately. Additionally, she doesn't want him to call again or to talk to Fred at all. Is she overprotective to Fred? Does she fear that Mooney can directly or indirectly inspire Fred to become an outsider or a marginal just like him? The film avoids defining or establishing a stance or position of the main character regarding his specific society. The film is set in 1970 during the Vietnam War at the intervention of the United States. There are protests in the street and high political climate due to demonstrations, just like the one at the end of the film. Is this political climate a mere coincidence, nothing but a background to justify having Mooney beaten by the police just for being amidst the mass of demonstrators against the war? There are references regarding enlisting, like an I Want You, Uncle Sam poster, or two men talking about Paris Island, a primary US Marine Corps recruit depot. There is also a Marine on the interstate bus that Mooney takes during his runaway journey. Is the film proposing two ways? Should he enlist as a Marine, or should he protest for the Vietnam War and the bombing? Should he turn into the police? Should he continue to be an art transgressor? Should he continue at large with the passport he finds and tampers, given that there is still a warrant out for his arrest? Should he pay more attention to TVs and newspapers showing the Vietnam War instead of being unaware or neglecting them? What should he do? Is his runaway a statement regarding rupture with the judge as his father and also a general representation of justice? What does the audience think about the judge's disappearance from the plot once JB Mooney is on the run? Ultimately, the mastermind distinguishes itself by consistently embracing ambiguity across its core elements. The film's reluctance to provide clarity transforms the simple plot of an art heist into an existential query. Why does Mooney commit the crime and what is its ultimate meaning? This deliberate vagueness extends to the female characters, Terri and Maude, whose complex, quiet resistance and apparent lack of knowledge about their husbands underscore a profound disconnect within personal relationships. Furthermore, by framing Mooney's flight against the volatile backdrop from the 1970 Vietnam War, the film refuses to define the protagonist as either a committed political dissident or a societal conformist. It posits Mooney as a figure of rupture, a man defying his father, the judge, and general justice, who remains directionless amidst a national crisis. By forcing the audience to grapple with these open questions concerning art, justice, and personal responsibility, the mastermind becomes less about resolving a crime and more about depicting the profound and compelling uncertainty of navigating a morally and politically undefined world. So, this was it. 3 ideas on the mastermind. What are your thoughts on the film? Thanks for your attention. See you next time.